So it's episode 5 on Is This Thing Even On? And we have the most talented, funny, bubbly Switch Pastel.
Yes, bringing the vibes tonight with us. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I make sound. Hi, sorry. I forgot you could hear me.
Oh my goodness.
It's charades. Sorry. I am actually excited to see you both, given that I haven't seen humans in quite a long time.
So good to see you.
Until we are reunited again in the studio.
So the first question that we have for you is, what actually got you into modeling?
How did I get into modeling? It seems like a long time ago. I remember actually. So it was about 10 years ago. Not allowed to guess my age. No, you can't. And no, I will not tell you what, yes. And I had responded to a model call out on Facebook, and it was for kind of like a street sneaker fashion style shoot. I talked a friend of mine into doing it with me just because it was a very quick one. It was very much like a 15, 20 minutes roaming, I think, the streets of Fitzroy, I believe it was. And I had some killer kicks that I really wanted to have photographs. So I was like, let's do it. And after that experience, I was just like, oh, the rush you get from doing these shoots is amazing. My friend went, look, that was fun, but I'm good. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go in this direction. So once I got that done and actually received photos from it, for one, I didn't know I could look like that. I was like, very good. I'm very stylish. I'm fond of it. I'm good. I wasn't sure if street style shooting was for me. Even though I thought I looked trendy, I didn't have an extensive wardrobe. I was like, oh, they're going to get really experienced people in for this kind of stuff. And so I went, look, it's something I experienced and I cherish the experience that I got from that, but it didn't make me develop a passion for it, if that makes sense. And so not long after that, I reached out to a photographer who had put a model call out on Facebook again. And it was for, do you know, okay, this is going to show my age a little bit. Do you know Trash Dolls?
Trash Dolls, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
So, well, you know of like Suicide Girls?
Yeah, we know, yeah.
Yes.
I did Harley Quinn.
Oh, I mean, let's go with that. That's cool. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely someone out there that has that name and has claimed it. But very similar, like just alternative modeling style. I guess I wouldn't say agency, I think, but yeah, more local to Oz, I believe. I knew of Trash Dolls. I knew a couple of people that were a part of that. And so I went, well, if my friends do it, then this must be a really awesome opportunity to take up. And it was ultimately just a really cool concept collab project between this particular photographer and Trash Dolls. And so I went, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. It didn't mention anything about needing a lot of experience. And I just went, what's the worst could happen? Just go for it. If you don't like it, that's okay. You'll learn from it and just kind of store that one in your memory. And so I reached out to him. I did one shoot and it turns out, so it was kind of like an erotic art style project. I knew that from the get-go. I thought I'd be more nervous about it, but it didn't bother me. Like, I don't know why. I was like, why aren't I more phased about this? Like, I'm like, do you really want your first big dive into this industry to be like erotic art? And I was like, you know what? I've spent a number of years building my body confidence and my body acceptance. So why wouldn't I go for it? I also had, the friends that I knew that were there were all kind of like me, curvy, alternative, and just really badass looking. And so I was like, I want to be a part of that. And after that first experience, I went, oh yes, this is my jam. And I love doing it. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could redo that shoot all over again. I do still have the images from it. A picture of very scene kid wearing, you know, the Hello Kitty glasses, but with no lenses.
No,
And
oh my God.
I was wearing a Hello Kitty onesie.
Oh goodness.
And I had probably a couple of colored streaks in my hair.
Oh, yeah.
And I was surrounded by plushies, and I'd had a couple of tattoos done by then, so they were on. So I was like, oh, is this what it means to be a scene kid? I don't know. So sometimes I look at those photos and go, choices, yes, but you know what? I liked it. I learned from it, and yeah, it just carried on from there. Pretty much just did a couple more projects with that particular photographer, and that's where it started.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's amazing.
What was the kind of preparation that you had to take leading up to the shoot?
So being inexperienced, the photographer did kind of give me a couple of tips, which I found to be really helpful. Ultimately, he said, look, get onto Google, find images that really inspire you, find themes that really just make you kind of sit up and go, oh, I really like that. And just come back and send him a couple of these reference images. And then from there, establish which one, you know, sparks the most amount of excitement and run with that theme. And
Yeah,
mine was
that's really
clearly
good.
scene kid, onesie, Hello Kitty, no lens. Yep.
We all start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was probably the main thing. I don't feel like I did much preparation other than that, because I already had the confidence going into it. I think if I came from a different place where I was nervous or maybe a little bit unsure of myself, it may have played out differently and I would have done a little bit more. But I was already a go-getter at that point and just went, let's do this. Yes, I'm down. Like the energy is here. Let's just get it done.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
That's what we always see when we shoot with you anyway. Like you bring that vibe. It's
Yeah,
so good.
so good.
It's like I was excited to shoot with you at the start, but then when you get there, it's like a whole other level of energy.
Yes.
Really.
I love
And-
that. I think if it can affect the room, then I'm down. I was like, yes.
No, that's
Yeah.
You make the whole room fall in love with you.
Yeah, literally.
Stop.
Every time.
Even the props. Stop.
Yeah,
Don't do all the
everything.
props. Stop.
You know the silver mannequin? She doesn't shut up.
I know.
Stop. I mean, that mannequin didn't even have eyes, but I knew it was watching me. You just knew it. I just...
But I remember when we first met that you were telling me that you hated when people were telling you when you started modeling that they were saying that you're so brave.
Mhm.
If you had a message to those who are in their shell or still shy about getting out there and a way to boost their confidence, what would that be?
Well, even from that statement, my mindset has changed a little bit since I said that. I know that was only a couple of years ago, but yeah, my thinking has kind of gone in a different direction, in that I no longer see it as a negative thing. I originally had this mindset of you shouldn't have to, like, it shouldn't be considered brave to get into any kind of modeling if you're plus size, if you are outside of the industry norm. Yes. And it should just be that regardless of your identity, your aesthetic, it doesn't matter, because every single new hobby you take on or new interest, whether it be modeling, trying something new, it all requires some level of courage for you to go for it in the first place. So really, my message would be to just, you won't know until you throw yourself in there, and just see what you get out of it. If you have the experience and you're able to take something from it that is a positive learning experience, if it's something you can learn from, then what have you got to lose, really? Just give it a go. And if it's not for you, you just thank the experience and then move on to something else.
That's so good.
That's really good advice. Definitely.
It's really strong advice as well.
So that's great tips as a model. So when you like to do shoots, what do you look for in a photographer?
So I actually had a conversation with someone about this yesterday. And it was just kind of like going across guidelines of, something you would tell your younger self. when they were first starting out, and things that you're aware of now that you either wish someone had told you back then, or that you really appreciate knowing that now. And a couple of those things would be, one, with photographers doing reference checks is probably pretty high up there, because when I first started out, I tried to engage with as many models and photographers in the industry as I could, just to kind of gauge what the energy was like. There were a few that I could reach out to if I was uncertain about anything, and just run questions by them to be like, is this normal? Is this okay? Is there more I can do to better this experience, and things like that. So I was really lucky to have that support network. But I guess that's probably number one. Two, seeing them shoot people similar to my aesthetic, to my identity, to, just me being a more of a plus size model, it makes a huge difference to me. Because when I first started, I had a couple of models that I followed and I went, oh, wow, I can relate to them and how they look and how they pose. And I was like, I think I can do that too. But it is a huge thing for me to go through portfolios and just go, if I see someone that goes, oh, that's like me, I'll go. It's a huge advantage, being able to shoot with them, knowing that they shoot a variety of people and a variety of bodies. So yeah, that is a huge, huge thing for me. One thing that I wish I knew when I was just starting out is how to have a conversation about giving and taking directions during shoots. So at the start, I did a combination of TFP shoots and also paid shoots. And by paid, I mean I paid professionals to help me, because I think that's a really important thing to do. Like, you can't really walk in having no experience and no posing experience and things like that. Like, why wouldn't you just go to a professional for that? They know.
Wait. Can you repeat that again?
It helps if I have a really good memory. Pay professionals. Pay professionals. I was like, because they have X amount of years of experience. They know what to look out for. They are there to guide you. If you just go in going, I have no idea how to pose, I'm not sure what to wear for it, and things like that, if you pay a professional to do it, they will help you and help set you up, so then you know where to go from there. And then if you get into more TFP work and things like that, you'll have the confidence and the skills to be able to do those shoots, knowing that someone who does this, who has done this for a living for a really long time and gets paid for their work, is being recognized. So that's the biggest thing I can recommend, really, even to models, is to pay professionals to get that skill level up. And I've been really lucky, because those photographers I find are the best ones to turn to for advice, and also even just to ask them about other photographers in the industry. So if you're unsure and you go, I haven't worked with this photographer before, they've reached out to me, can you give me any insight on them? And ask other models as well. Mm-hmm. They can generally give you a rundown and help you, fill in that gap of insecurity and uncertainty, and help you kind of make that decision as to whether you want to work with them or not.
I love it. That's really good points. Because obviously it goes back to our post that we did earlier, that it's opened, this whole awareness around how models are being treated. But we also wanted to touch on photographers as well. Like, sometimes it's hard for photographers to get models because they just ghost, or it's hard. So there's always this huge gap between models and photographers, and I feel what you just said is really good on both ends. Like, it's a really great starting point for both beginners or experience. It's really good.
Absolutely. And especially getting into those TFP type arrangements, like, you're putting as much trust in the photographer as the photographer's putting in trust in you. So, if you find yourself, no showing at a shoot, like, it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Like, when you're trying to build all this experience and you're trying to build this confidence in the industry and have people want to work with you and things like that, it doesn't help. Like, communication is really the most important thing both ways. Like, if something goes wrong, I understand. You can have bad mental health days and things like that. As long as you communicate,
Yeah.
things can always kind of work out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, no one should be ghosted in any aspect. So
Exactly.
I feel for photographers that make all this effort to put the time aside, show up to a shoot, and then have someone not show up or send a message super short notice and then leave you at this point where you're like, I have to find someone really quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is definitely both ways, because I've also experienced where photographers have cancelled last minute and you're already getting your makeup done.
Yeah.
You know, and you've already
Could've
paid
managed.
professionals to do your makeup and hair and things like that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Just keep the communication window open so then no one's
Definitely.
left out of the loop.
Exactly. And our industry is so small.
Mm.
Everyone
Yes.
talks. So if you're going to be a dick and you're going to ghost, whether you're a model or a photographer, and you're going to ghost someone, everyone's going to find out about it. Like, everyone is going to find out about it. So yeah, and it's not just being courteous to that other person. That's your reputation. You know, you're putting your reputation on like a risk if you don't show up, or you don't communicate that you're not going to show up, or you just completely ghost them. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of people rely on their social media platforms to get exposure and to have people want to work with them, but word of mouth is the most the strongest way of getting known and being found out about. From my perspective, I would be considered to have a small following in terms of Instagram, and I have no issues with that, because I would rather have someone reach out to me because they've heard of another model or another photographer that had a positive experience working with me and recommends me to someone, and then reach out, because one, they would already know what I'm about. Two, they know what kind of shoots I do. Three, they're coming in with some knowledge of, you know, whether they think we would be compatible to work together.
Yeah.
So it is super important, and you've just got to, if I have someone doing a reference check on me, the last thing I want them to be like, oh, she flaked out and didn't show up to a shoot this time. It's disheartening, but it's also enough to make you go, maybe not. And that might be before they've even attempted to contact you. So you really do need to make sure that if word of mouth is getting around and that's how you're getting exposure, that it's a positive experience that's going around.
100%. And a lot of creators are very emotional. So one negative experience will trump all of the positive experiences that you've actually had with that person.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cherish your reputation, guys.
Yes, exactly that. But also at the same time, I know that like there's always room for change and there's room for growth. So I think it's really important that while it's okay to make mistakes, as long as like acknowledge them, learn from them, and move on from them, and change for the better, you know, for yourself and for where you want to go from there.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like this deep diving.
Yeah.
You're in my brain. Stop it.
I think I wanted to touch base also with like with our post about, you know, a lot of models you know, having a lot of red flags with photographers, and actually a lot of photographers being handsy with models. Is your only biggest thing just reference checks, especially with, you know, the style of photography that you do?
It's the main thing, I guess, in terms of speaking to other models that either want to get into a similar type of photography, whether it's boudoir, fet, alternative, and beyond that, more adult content, then it would stem to a lot of things, like the basic being consent and communication, making sure that if you feel like something doesn't feel 100% right, that you speak up, that it's okay to say no, because I know with a lot of people trying to get into this kind of field, it's hard, because you go, oh, but this is an opportunity. Maybe they have a huge following. Maybe you've seen a lot of other models, you know, work with them, and you go, oh, it seems like a really good idea and I think it'll really help me. But at the end of the day, you've got to take care of yourself. You have to put yourself first. And if something feels slightly off, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to question, I guess, what's happening. If you, I guess, have photographers who suggest, let's say, being hands-on, or let's say something as simple as adjusting a strap on maybe your lingerie or something like that, I think having a support person there during your shoot is super important.
Yeah, cool.
Because they will look out for you. If they see that anything seems off, they will talk to you about it, especially if you are someone who doesn't like confrontation.
Yeah.
Having someone just kind of pull you aside and go, hey, something doesn't seem right. Like, are you okay? Would you like me to step in? Is there anything I can say on your behalf to ease this situation or change what's happening? And I find that is a huge help to people. I myself, I am very comfortable speaking up and addressing concerns, but I myself came from having a somewhat traumatic experience when I first started out in the industry. And I didn't speak up then. And so now I'm like, if you can't speak up for yourself, have a support person there who can just be your rock when things are getting tough. And when you don't know whether it's okay to stop the shoot altogether, to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. No, I would rather do this, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really great advice.
Yeah.
Because we feel like a lot of people, are too scared to even say anything. So that's why it it always happens.
Yeah, and I mean, coming from being from a photographer's perspective, you are responsible for keeping everyone safe, for everyone involved, not just the model, the creative team, the makeup artists on site, the hair artists on site, everyone, to make sure that everyone is in an environment where they feel safe to create. And unfortunately, there are people out there that take advantage of that. And as much as we'd like to, stamp out that kind of behavior, it exists. And so doing your research, preparing yourself in advance and things like that, knowing as much about these photographers as possible and reaching out to other models that have worked with them, it will make a huge difference to how you go about working with new photographers and other models as well.
Yeah, amazing. That was really good insight. Thank you for that. For those who don't know, can you define alternative modeling?
Definition? You're asking me for a definition. It's terrifying. What am I, a dictionary? No, I guess it's such a broad term. Okay. So for me, it incorporates a lot of things that I find quirky or things that I wouldn't necessarily find opening your standard, I'm about to show my age again, magazine. I was like, printed publishings. Alternative for me, I guess, is it's just something that I guess I fit into. I believe in that, like, it's not just about having like colorful hair, colorful lipstick and all that. For me, it broadens to lifestyle, and that's kind of as far as I can go with that definition being put on the spot. So please proceed with your follow-up question.
Okay. Well, now that she did mention about the whole alternative stuff, but I want to go more on the side of like the chains and whips kind of side. And besides you looking super badass with it, are you open about it? And like, how did you kind of get into that side?
Do you mean as in that scene of modeling, or do you mean as a lifestyle?
I think more of that scene of modeling.
Cool. Well, I guess mine is linked to my lifestyle, so I'm glad I popped that one in. Ultimately, I do consider myself to have an alternative lifestyle, and I like to incorporate that into my shoots. So where the chains and the whips and the cuffs kind of show themselves. It was just kind of a branch out beyond standard boudoir. I love boudoir photography on its own. I love it to bits. But I wanted to, I guess, challenge myself a little bit more and do something that was not necessarily going to put me too much out of my comfort zone, but enough to see what magic could come from it and what we can create and what it brings out in me, because it is so much linked to my lifestyle. It's really different seeing it during a shoot, so for me, I love doing those kinds of shoots, that kind of DS type, BDSM lifestyle type stuff. I really love doing it. It's not a painted picture of what my lifestyle is day to day. Just in case anyone was like, she walks around in that day to day. It's 26 degrees. Open a window. So, but it is just a kind of another segment that I like to dive into, with just kind of exploring those sides of me, whether it be like my dominant side, my more submissive side, and things like that. And I'm very lucky to be able to work with models and photographers who specialize in that type of photography. So that's what I really reach out for. Yeah,
It is different. Like, I think you definitely opened that door for us, especially.
Did I?
Yeah. We've never had any shoot like that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't
Especially
know
with
that.
the spider web.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I can kind of draw an experience from that. So my very first photo shoot that I had that incorporated some level of, I guess, BDSM or anything like that was a shibari shoot. I did it, I think, back in 2014 or 2015, and it was with a very experienced, trusted rigger. And that was also actually my first experience with shibari, full stop. So it was kind of two firsts in one experience, being that having that happen in real time and also having it be part of a shoot where it was documented. So I could see the reactions to that form of art. And after that, that's where I became obsessed. That's where I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. This is where I make my way into this community. This is what I love. And so doing that rope shoot there was a huge thing, because I hadn't really had a lot of opportunities to play that out in a shoot since then. I'd had maybe one shoot. And so, I mean, it helps to be surrounded by people that you have confidence in and that you trust and that you know is supportive. And, having a friend that would be willing to jump in and help me with that really helps. And he's part of the community as well. So yeah, it's not something I go into blindly at all, because there are risks involved with anything. But yeah, I try to make sure that I do everything in a safe manner, especially during a shoot, because sometimes it's hard to differentiate between an actual scene and a shoot. So yeah, it is really important to still take precautions and be risk aware doing any of those things. And luckily that friend of mine is someone that I had done roped style ties before, so I had full trust in him and he knew what he was doing.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, really awesome. But that was a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was the first, when we posted that on our story, everyone was like, whoa, that's so cool. They were like, yeah.
They're actually saying, are you gonna leave it there?
Yeah, literally.
Like, leave the rope there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, clearly that means we need to do a 2.0.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, the neon cube's still there, so
exactly.
Yeah.
And we
plenty of opportunities.
So yeah,
absolutely. It's fate. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a reason why we kept it there.
Yeah.
Alternative modeling style. Are you open about that with your family, with your friends that are not in the community?
Yes, absolutely. I am open to it to whoever wants to know more about it and how deep I am into that. It's not something like on my Instagram, or that specific Instagram with all my modeling stuff. I'm very open about it on there. And my Facebook, I do put little bits and pieces, and I do have family members on there. But my family is very supportive. They love seeing any of the new kind of shoots that I do and things like that. They'll always, when I see them, go, what's coming up next? Like, what's on the agenda? What kind of shoot are you going to do next? So I am very lucky to have a supportive family, and I have very supportive friends. I do obviously have friends that may not be into it, but they are respectful regardless. So I said, it's for a lot of you, it's not going to be for you, and that's absolutely fine. I accept that. I respect that. But if you ever want to ask me about, you know, what I'm into, I'm happy to answer questions because I'm like an open book, and it's not something I worry about. So, and also, sorry, my field of work and things like that in the past has also been environments of supportive people and very accepting people of all kinds of photography and things like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
Since,
so good.
yeah, it's so good. And so obviously we know that you love modeling. Is there something that you want to achieve in your modeling career, I guess, or you have goals? Or
I have ticked off a couple of things off my bucket list, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because I do this modeling for me, you know, I don't do any of those paid platforms or, you know, those other forms of getting exposure and doing the different kinds of work. I just do these kinds of shoots for me. And one of the things I wanted to achieve is to be able to take the experiences from having that confidence in shoots and feel like I know what I'm doing and taking it to, you know, like maybe a runway, fashion show and things like that. And I was really lucky to get the opportunity to walk for one particular fashion show, but for 4 years in a row. And
Wow.
that was huge for me because when I started out, I just said, look, there isn't really an end game. There isn't just one destination I want to get to. I just wanted to broaden the opportunity to experience new things. And when I first started, I went, you know, it'd be cool to do a fashion show, do a runway and things like that. But I didn't know if it was possible. And I just went, let's just see where it takes you. And I was just really lucky to meet the right people that were able to give me that opportunity when I was a super noob and just walking and going, I can't even walk in heels. Are you sure you want me to walk in heels? I can't walk in them. Not well. I can wear boots. Give me combat boots. I'll wear those. And so I'll be again doing that same fashion show next year. So those are the kind of experiences I really want to dive into. Beyond that, I'm still happy to do shoots and just different concepts, more challenging themes. I'd love to do that and work with more photographers that specialize in the field that I really enjoy, being like the alternative side of things. But yeah, it really is about just new experiences for me.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
amazing. That's good. So the final question that we want to ask you, which is your 2 favorite sets and what's your concepts?
Okay.
Pressure's on.
Bam. Okay. So the cage is going to be number 1. I mean, that's a lot of people's favorite, but one, because there's a couple of reasons why. One, because it is, you know, that field that I like to be in. I was like, it's so versatile being able to use that cage. There's so many lighting options, whether it be UV or non-UV. There's some really cool shadow work that you can do with that cage. And I really want to utilize that one more than any of the others. Also because it allows an opportunity for more than one person to be involved in that shoot. Because like, you know, I mean, you can't really stick me in a cage, even if you ask me nicely. So if there's someone else out there that's like, I'll get in the cage, I'm like, I appreciate you. I'm going to stand outside and look lovingly into your eyes while you do it. But yeah, so that's number 1 for sure. The cage is my jam. I can't really ever move away from the neon cube. Because it has a space in which side is the heart? This side? Okay. It has a special place in my heart, not only because of that shoot, but because there are so many more possibilities with that space. Like I'd love to incorporate rope into it again and maybe try and do a couple of different designs, maybe opt for I think we did more of a UV based one last time.
Yeah.
Maybe opting for a daytime style shoot of the same. There's just, again, versatility. I love that there's an endless amount of things that you can do with those 2 spaces. So yeah, the neon cube, like if it disappears, I'll find out where you live. Like it's just not and then I'll hijack the neon cube and be like, fine, I'll do it by myself, and just, stick it out in my backyard and be like, we're going to do this. So, yeah, those are the main ones. I really just want to stick with what I love, and I love doing that boudoir plus alternative side of things. And there's not many studios that offer that, the closest you get to, I was like, all right, calm down. I was about to compliment you, I was gonna say that, the next option, if it's not a similar studio, is to rent out a dungeon. You know how expensive it is to rent out a dungeon?
No.
Is expensive.
That you opened that door for us.
I don't know what you're talking about. You dove down that rabbit hole. I was just there to hold your hand. But yeah, it's very rare to have the opportunity to have a really cool setup like that and have it available to everyone, because there was so many cosplayers I could see using specific, like the cage. Oh, I can't wait to see what comes out of it. I can't wait. And for some reason I keep picturing like Looney Tunes and Tweety, and do I want to dress up as Sylvester? I don't know, but I would give it a go. I'm not a fairy, but I would give it a go.
I want to see this.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
Is this what's happening Halloween next year? Is that
100%?
Okay, all right. Let me find the Tweety to my Sylvester, because you're gonna hold it against me next. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. If anyone wants to be the Tweety to my Sylvester, you know where to find me.
No, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But this is also very special, this podcast that we're doing right now, because it wasn't too long ago that we actually asked you to be our brand ambassador. So we're super excited to have you on board being our brand ambassador. And yeah, we just can't wait to just start making content with you continuously.
So I'd like to thank, don't ask why there's a toilet roll accessible to me.
I was like, is that a toilet roll? What is that?
I don't know the answer to that question. This isn't my room. But yes, I would like to thank you both for giving me this opportunity to, represent the studio, because I've been all right, we're gonna stop with that. Because I've been trying to support you both since day one, and we always have the best time when I'm there, and it's always a feel-good mood when I'm there. I know 6 months could go by, but I will get the exact same energy from you both as I did the last time I saw you, and that's like having family. So it is a big deal, and I love that I'm able to do this. Also that you I guess appreciate what's the term, but like someone who doesn't have a gazillion followers, being able to do something like this, because it's not something that I ever saw myself doing, because I was like, I thought I'd have to be 10k plus followers and stuff. But I appreciate that you appreciate my loyalty, I guess, to the brand. Because I love shooting there, and I talk about it all the time, and I try to drag all my friends there. So yes, I'm really excited to be on board with you both, and it means I can pester you all the time.
Yeah. you got a home at Creative Freedom. So
yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll bring my tent and my sleeping bag.
Oh gosh.
You don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months. If I end up on your doorstep, it'll be, what it won't be with? It won't be with a giant violet crumble egg, because what I remember from winning said violet crumble egg back, was it the Easter competition? Easter, you were like, oh, we can finally get it out of here. And I was like, what? I was like, I mean, cool, I'm going to carry this. What is it? I can't remember how heavy it was. It was a heavy egg.
I think it was like 6 kilos or something, or 7 kilos.
I was like, I'm going to put this in the boot, because otherwise one of us is not going to be able to fit in the car. So, that's what I won't bring. But I will bring hugs when we're allowed to. I will bring and smiles and killer playlists, which is my number one thing that I recommend to anyone, regardless of your experience level. Create a killer playlist for yourself, so then you feel that confidence was going into the shoot, because I know I had a couple of silent shoots when I first started, and I could hear the breathing, and I was like, is that me? That's me. That's my loud breathing, and I thought there was someone behind me. Me. So yes, killer playlist. In this case, I've actually already started creating playlists for when I'm coming back there, and I've got one for each set that I want to use. So
that's awesome. That's cool.
you got to get that vibe. You got to get your mood on. So I'm excited
I love
for that.
that organization. So good.
Well, thank you very much, Switch. It was an honor having you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the insight and all the tips. It was amazing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your Friday night when you could be out not going shopping because nothing's open yet.
Exactly.
I mean, we could stand in line waiting to sit at a pub.
Yeah.
You could, or you could go to Dan Murphy's and also stand in a line to get into Dan Murphy's to get booze.
It's fine. I'm happy with my water.
Me too. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Amazing. All right.
Well, thank you again.
you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Well, can't you tell from the big grin on my face? You can't fake this. If I'm if I'm not having a good time, you can see it here. It comes in the dead eyes and the non-movement of my mouth is generally when you can tell.
It's the biggest giveaway.
Stop. I'm not that obvious. Stop.
Amazing.
No, amazing. Thank you so much.
Right.
We can't wait to have you back in the studio
Soon.
very soon.
Okay.
I think 2 weeks time.
Yeah.
Now.
Is it?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today in 2 weeks.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Yes. No, you're correct. That's it. So
Yay.
super soon. I can't wait.
I know. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.